Good evening and welcome to my kitchen area. I thought I'd keep things a bit fresh and share some creative ideas with you and some skills. So I'm going to be showing you all how to draw a face. Okay, it will obviously be a longer video, so if you're interested in it, go to the link above. Have to do that, so much fun. Go to the YouTube channel and then you'll see the full video there. You will need some paper, a rubber, sharpener, whatever pencils you can scrounge, and an egg. Why an egg? Because the egg is the shape of the face. Right, so grab your bits and bobs, and point about pencils as well, just so you know, HB is standard. When you're doing lots of sort of sketching and stuff, when you go from HB to the B, so 2B, 3B, 4B, etc., the lead becomes soft at each point, which means it's a much darker look. And then the other spectrum is 1A, 2A, where the lead is really, really hard, and the effect is much, much lighter. So see what you can find and then we'll begin. All right, so you have your paper, your pencil and your egg. If you bear with me as well, I don't have a tripod and I'm using a phone camera, so I hope this all works out. Get your shape of your egg, and what you want to do is basically just draw the shape of an egg. So a little bit point to the bottom, and then it goes up and big round on the outside. Okay, there is my egg. Okay, so the points of eyes is basically quite easy. Okay, our eyes sit right, if we do one line across the center of the egg first of all. Okay, one line across the center. Then what you do is that space between the bottom and that middle line there, you do another central spot. So it's actually pretty equal. Okay, so if we were to do like this, those are equal, pretty much equal distance apart. Okay, so we haven't done anything with the top here because that's basically the forehead and the hair. Okay, between the two last lines over here, we're going to do one more line in the middle. So literally what we've done, it's all mathematics really, if you think about it. Okay, can you see that? Right, we've halved it in half, then we've quartered it, and then we've done an eighth of it there. All right, from this point, take your pencil and draw a line right in the center, Mr. Fender. Right in the center, okay? These are your guidelines for your face. Here's a trick. Between the middle line over here, I hope you can see this okay. Between this line over here and the first line we did, those are where the ears go, okay? So the best thing is just thinking about shapes, okay? We do like an oval thing over here, oval thing over there, and then a mini oval one, okay? We'll be rubbing all of this out, so it's fine. Basically, these mark the ears in proportion to the face, okay? The central line over here, yes, you guessed it right. Those are the eyes. And again, keep it right, really open. You can change it all really loose. A little semicircle, and a little semicircle, little semicircle. Okay? It's all going to come together, don't worry, okay? Then the bottom of this line over here is where the nose goes. So before worrying about nostrils and the shape of a nose, we're just going to do just a half semicircle over here so we know where about it is going. All right? The next line along over here, those are your lips. So the central point is the parting of the lips. We want to do a lip above and a lip below. And again, I like to use shapes anyway. So we'll do one little kind of oval there, okay? And we'll do a big one at the bottom over here. Okay. Can you see that? Basically, it's all just a series of shapes. We'll create the neck next, and where the neck is, now this always seems a bit silly, but right where the bottom of the ear comes, if it's a man, it's a very thick neck all the way down, okay? That's where the neck goes. And if it's a woman, it's slightly curved in a bit more. Do you see? I've got an asexual being here. Right, now we're going to get really creative. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to try and work out what is going on with the eyes. Before we do that, we're just going to create some eyebrows. So again, let's just make a big semicircle. You can make them big and wide because we're going to change it in a minute. Again, don't really worry about shapes. They will all come into play. Okay, bear with me because I can't bring the camera in any higher because it's directly in front of me. So, we've got a very odd looking being here at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the eyes. Okay, so we've got our roundy bits over there, and then we want some pupils. Okay, all of this stuff will be, to get my angle right here, all of this stuff will be cleaning up in the end. So big iris, don't worry, he looks a bit worried. I feel it's like a he actually. Okay, and then let's bring a little bit of a bridge of the nose so we kind of know what's going on over here. Okay, I think I might make him masculine actually. If I make him masculine, I want to give a bit of a crooked nose. Okay, so what I'm doing is literally doing a line on either side of the central line. Okay, I want a nice big proper masculine nose, real nose. Okay, I'm just going to do that. And then we're thinking about some nostrils over here. Again, I like to do shapes and shapes just to get the idea of where it's coming from. I know he looks like an alien for now, but just bear with me. Okay. Okay. I basically like to be really, really loose. Okay, so got a nice little nostril there. You see everything's just a case of half circles. Okay. Now I want to go back to the eyes, okay, because I don't like him looking so scared. Now in eyes, if you were to go and have a look in the mirror at the moment, really have a look at a selfie or something that you've taken recently, your eyes, you never really see the whole of your eyes, okay? You have lids that cover quite a high portion of the top of the eyes, okay? This is just normal. Now he looks a bit dopey now, but that can all be changed in a moment. Well, later when we start rubbing things out. Okay, so now he looks less scared and a bit more dopey with his eyelid coming up. Okay. From this section over here, we want to give him some pupils. Remember pupils, if you were to see a pupil right in the center over here of anybody, they would look quite alienish, okay? Most of the times, the pupils usually sit relatively just below the lid. And we know that when people are scared or they see a bright light, their pupils are quite small. But if we want more of a kind of a loving, warmer feel and more comfortable feel, well, dopey in this case, then we make the pupils a bit larger. Pupils are actually quite big. Okay. And again, it's just all semicircles again, okay? I like to sort of color in just a little bit and keep a little bit of white, a bit of light on the side there just for the highlight. Okay. Right, so we're going to go over all of this in a bit. But that should just give you the general vibe. Now, let's move on to the lips. He looks quite weird here. I think I'm definitely going to make him masculine. So I'll get rid of the feminine neck. And I'll keep a nice, thick, manly neck there. Okay. It's a bit like a footballer there, actually, with his fat neck. Okay. Moving on to the lips. Okay. Obviously, people have different sort of lips, but again, I am working with just sort of semicircles. So you do a curve down, okay. And then I like to do another little sausage over here, and then meet up again. You see, it's almost like a 1.5 S shape. Go down to the bottom over here, give them nice voluptuous lips, and then again up. Now you don't want to go straight up because you want to give a bit of a curve. So again, it's like a mini S. Okay, now we can actually part his lips a little bit, which means that's going to be the bottom lip over there. Okay. And I do like wide lips on a man, so I think I'm going to extend the lips because he looks a bit too pouty and very, very attitudey. So I'm just going to extend the lips just a wee bit, just to make him look a bit nicer. Okay. Now you don't want to bring the lips up high on the edge, because if he starts smiling too much, you really need to affect and change the eyes. So let's just give him. It's just some girth. All right. Okay. Right. I mean, he's not very handsome at all, but you know, there we go. This is just to get a sense of how to draw a face. Now I want to give him a strong chin and jawline because he is man. So I'm going to take this, make it a little bit darker. Okay, you can go a little funny here. You can give him a little bit one of those, but I don't fancy that. Okay. Nice strong jaw over there. And then where the bottom of the ears, the lobes go on either side. This is making a noise, it's annoying. Okay, got the lobe over there, lobe over there. Okay, where the lobe goes, you can bring it wider than the egg was, okay? And you can almost like a straight down, and then just like this. Okay, remember, we are going to be changing this. This is just to give the general shape. Right, let's give a bit more life to the ears before we move on. Okay, again, all you're doing is you're just going over the basics that you did before. Okay. You see, I like to work at the side. I did some damage to my thumb years ago, and I've never been able to draw or write properly since. I have to work on the side here. Okay, nice. Gonna get some pillars in there as well. Okay. You can fix all that. It's just to give the impression. Right. Now, that's literally from very, very basic kind of lines. Let us work on the eyebrows. Okay, now eyebrows usually will always start, makeup artists would also certainly say this, that the line between where the mouth ends, the edge of the mouth, and the eyebrow going up, that should be around the same on both sides. Like this almost like this line, like that, right? Those will be the natural. Obviously, some people have monobrows, and that's fine. As it's a man, I'm going to do quite a bushy eyebrow, but let's just get the bases in. Now, the difference between a man and a woman in terms of the eyes is that men will tend to have quite deep set eyes, whereas women, the eyebrow will go higher, and you will see more of their top eyelid, okay? Men, it kind of works on, if it was like a side viewing, it would be like, and then the nose, and then the chin, right? And the eyebrows there, and the eyes there. Okay, and whereas a woman, it's a lot softer. It's more of a curve. Okay, she's quite an ugly woman, but there we go. just to give you that idea. Right, so bushy eyes. Right, I want to get the shape. So again, because I'm doing quite deep set, I'm bringing it quite close to the top of that line, the lid, the layer there. Again, another little oval sausage. Gotta love the sausages. Everything I do is sausages. Okay. And then we're just going to give a little bit on the side there, and we're going to curve it down, almost as if it's framing the eye, which is what it would do anyway. Okay, now you might say that all this is empty space and it looks a little bit strange, but don't you worry, because that's where shadow comes in later. People do actually have faces like this. Okay, so we've got this very basic outline over here. Easy way to do eyebrows, literally lots of zigzags. And you can have a look at your eyebrows in the mirror. You will notice the hairs don't all go in the same fashion. So you always go a little bit like this first, and then zigzaggy, 4 different ways, just to fill in that space for now. Obviously this is not going to be a masterpiece, this is just to get the impression. Lots of ziggy zags. Art is just scribbles. It's when you rub out, which is really special, when the magic happens. Okay, so we've got that. Now I want to fix his eyes because I don't like the fact that he's so dopey. So now this is the point where we've got our very basic outlines over here. Okay, and we are wanting now to bring a little detail into it without getting rid of our kind of measurements just yet. So in order to do this, because I went quite heavy, I'm just going to do a light little rub over a couple of things just to give myself a bit of space. It doesn't matter what I rub, I know the outline is there. Just so when I do a little bit harder, it's a bit more detailed. Okay, working with an eye, don't worry, no 2 eyes are ever the same. Okay, so I'm just going to go a little bit darker. I always like to do this little thing there, and then I like to kind of copy the same sort of vibe. Okay, and I want to bring this darker, and I want to create the lid the way I want to, but instead of going straight over, I want to slightly curve it, because eyeballs have a curvature obviously, so we want to give the impression see, very subtle, but you can see it's not a straight line. Yeah, the same sort of vibe over there, slight curvature. Obviously because you're pressing a bit darker, it's becoming a bit more pronounced. Okay, right, there's the top lids. Let's try and see if we can sort out the bottom lids. I don't want to do this too dark below because he's not wearing eyeliner, is he? But I do want to just get some fingers off. Basically what I do is just go over until I'm happy with the shape. I think his eyes are too wide, so I will be fixing that. Okay, right. Then I want to do his top lids a bit more, so I'm going to give this a light rub so it doesn't put me off. I've got a bit of an indicator there, but to give me a bit of guidance, but I don't have to follow it. I want to make his lids a little bit higher. So again, with my little shapes, I'm going to do that. A little shape going up, as if it's very high over there. Okay, shape up, slight curve. Okay. always want to leave a little bit of space between that top line and the actual liddy bit. Okay. So now I'm just going to quickly erase the lines that I don't want around his eyes, because I've got a bit of an idea of what I want. I do want to curve it up a bit more, so I'm going to just bring the sides off a bit, okay, which is absolutely fine, because I want to curve it down. So, can't see this properly. There we go. The shape of the actual eye is a little bit like a bean or a very small, I want to say mealy sweet corn. Right, draw this up. I'm going to bring this down a bit. I'm just using a bit of shading to get that there. Okay. And then we're going to, let's get a little bit more detail with the pupil. All it literally is just going over and over and over until you're happy with a fairly decent shape. And then you get rid of the other bits. Okay. Right, now from this bit, what I want to do is I want to have a look at his nose. Now I'm going to come back to everything, but it's about starting a little bit somewhere, a little bit somewhere, a little bit somewhere, until you have the proportions kind of okay, and then you can add a bit more detail. All right, so I want to deal with the nose, but I know that this middle central line here is going to put me off. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so here we've got the man. I've rubbed out this central line over here, and where I did my roundy bits, I'm just going to make a bit of space in the nose there. You see how that already transforms it? Okay, I'm going to clean the edges up just a little bit so that I can work with it. Right, so as I said, I like a good strong nose in a man. So I'm going to bring a bit of crookedness. Okay, I'm going to go nice, big, good, decent nose there. The thing is with noses, if it's really face front, they always look a bit weird without the correct shadowing, because shadows is what really brings noses to life. Okay, so that's why it's going to look a little odd for now, but just go with it. Okay, I'm going to create a bit of that, and then I'm going to bring it down just a little bit so that I know you're creating this, like, how does that work? I like it being good. It's cool. Got character. It's like he's been in a fight. Okay. Bring that higher. So like this would the side would obviously, the side of the nose, right, would basically be, let me think. Okay, you've got your nose over there, and then you've got that roundy bit over there. Okay, so it's like, okay, that little bit here is what we're trying to deal with over here. So there's a bit like an oval bit again. Oh, I went a bit hard there. I feel like that is too, this kind of I want fairly equal. So when I get unsure, I just do a bunch. Okay, then I want to bring this in a bit, and I don't want him to have such deep nostrils. I want him to be a man and have a proper full-on nose, but It doesn't have to have huge nostrils. So I'm going to bring that up just a little bit. Okay. And then I want to bring, you know, I was doing the side bits over here. I want to bring that down a bit as well. So it's got good, I don't know what the actual correct term for this bit of cartilage is. Bring it down underneath so it covers the nostril. And then you want, now I always find just doing kind of like a few beanie weenies like this works quite well. It's almost like, think of a water drop, very sort of slim water drop. Now, again, it looks like he's had too many fights. So I'm just going to bring in these sides, just make them a bit more droppy-fied, that sort of shape, rather than too sort of flat. Okay. Let's give it a space over here. All of this will be worked on again, obviously. So we've got these little lines underneath, okay? We got the nostrils. Be careful not to complete the nostrils to the side because it's the wrong angle for that to do so, otherwise it'll just look a little bit weird. Okay, so there we've got a resemblance of a type of face. For myself personally, I like to do, in terms of the shadowing, I like to sort of give myself some pointers. So again, some pointers, I know that, say, we don't want to upturn nose. So I'm going to give the roundy bit over here, the real point of his nose. Okay, this is just for my own benefit. And then that bit over there, because we've widened that. You see, a lot of women would have very thin or wider, but it would be more curved, a more sort of elegant slant, whereas for a man, it tends to be a little bit more rough and ready. Okay. So I know for myself that that is that bit, and then that's going to be another sort of shadow coming there. So it's basically like one circle and a little circle between. Don't worry, this is just for ourselves, just to know where we stand. Now let's work a little bit on the lips. Again, I'm going to rub out the bits that I don't, just the light bits to create a thinner lines to work with. Okay, see how already that sort of changes the face. Okay, right. And all I'm going to do is just using the lines that I've already made, the big kind of thick shadings almost. I'm just going to use a pencil to really just define it. And what I might use, now obviously you can still use the, I've been using a B. I'm going to use, oh, this is dangerous. I'm going to go for it. 4B. I'm going to get a little darker here just to get a bit of definition. Okay. Definition changes everything. And all you're doing is you're just following what you've done before. I would be wary about doing all of the lines because of shadows and light. Light and shadows will be hitting in at different points. So just give yourself a hint of what's going on. Okay. And then we need the bottom lip. He looks really miserable, doesn't he? So you'll notice I'm doing the lines close to one another, but not actually completely touching. Okay, right. It gives you a bit of a sense. What we'll do is we're going to clean up the edges with the rubber or the eraser. Okay. I don't want to rub out any of these little shadings over here too much because that naturally sits in shadows anyway, so we want that, okay? But we've got the outline. We have the outline. I want to define this little guy, guy here. I don't know, a lot of people don't have this, but I tend to add it to mine always. And then I want to go back in the eyes. Now I've still got the 4B, okay, it's the heavy pencil. I want to give the eyes a bit more definition. So literally all it is making pointers for yourself and going over them bit by bit, starting one place and then moving to another place. The best thing is not to perfect one area all at once, otherwise it'll send everything in disarray. Okay. There we go. Right, so a bit more on the eyes, let's try. I'm going to define the pupils again with this beautiful dark pencil, graphite pencil. Okay, define on this side. Again, you'll notice I'm not doing at the bottom because obviously the iris will dip just below the lid, okay? I want his eyes to stand out. So it's just around on either side. Okay, let's give his pupils again a bit more definition. The key here usually is always semicircles more than circles. Okay, I'm going to say, just to make sure that I have a highlight on the left of either pupil, I'm just going to darken this over here. It's almost like you've done another little semicircle in that corner there. If I were to do like that, God, he looks really pissed off. Let me clean that. Right, okay. Now, I want to define the lids without it being too OTT. So the same with the lips. I'm going to define with some lines, but I'm not going to connect the lines. It's going to give the impression of it more than anything, and then I can sort of erase up between that. So I'm just going to add these areas over here by the eye tend to always stand out for me. So just up like that. In fact, you know what? I really don't like his lids being so high. So I'm just going to get rid of this. Because I think that's what's making him look so dopey. Just give him a smaller lid. Again, let's try and keep that got the normal pencil again. Okay, because, yeah, that would work. See, what I'm doing is I'm following the line of our correction of the pupil to get the lid, and it needs to be just ever so slightly higher to obviously fill in the pupil from. So that would be over there. That would be the continuation of the circle, and I'd lift it just a little bit higher to bring that down. Okay. I didn't say it had to be particularly good looking, I just said draw a face. And obviously this is a man's face and I'm better with women, but there we go. If you want someone to look a little kinder, you curve the tops of the lids in a bit. So then you create this again, what I said before, a very, very subtle S shape. Nothing is ever a straight line, especially in the human body. Even bones, you know. Okay. Right. This is where the real fun comes in, because now you've got the pieces that you really want, and then you can mold around them. So I'm going to take HB this time. Follow that around to where I like it. Nice and light. Keep the pencils nice and light. And if you do these kind of scratchy moves as well, it gives it more, I guess, realism. Because nothing's ever perfect, right? Okay. I like to always do just a little, so whatever line you've done over there, okay, where the eyelashes would go, I like to do one just very slightly parallel to that. Okay. I want to grab a bit of shadow. Actually, I think we should continue with, let's get the eyebrows a bit darker. So get a darker pencil if you have one and just go a little bit nuts. Okay, bring it really down. Doosh, 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 doosh. Whatever you want. Over here. Okay. Oh yes, we're making him a logical thinker there with a bit of a straight thing there. Doosh, 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 doosh. Right, okay, we're not going to quite meet them, but you know. Right. Now I know that from this guy here, his because he's got deep set eyes, there's going to be quite a lot of shadow work going in the inside of here, which I'm dying to start, but I can't yet because I've got to make sure the other bits are done. Okay, so I want to clean up the jaw, the ears, and the top of the head before we go into a bit of shading. Okay, he looks like I wouldn't trust this guy, but to my defense, it's quite difficult to draw with a camera right in front of your face, which is what I'm doing. And I've never done this before, you know, like something like this. So let's get the jaw. Remember the earlobes are always behind the jaw because it sits behind, you know, the side of the head. So I'm just going to define some of these lines a bit more specifically. Let's see what's going on here. Whatever I do on one side, I want to do on the other side. Now, it might look a bit like he's got a chubby face, but oh, it depends on the shadowing, doesn't it? I want to hit this point over here at the bottom. So I know this is my chin. Remember, for guys, they're going to have a longer chin, deep set eyes. Women are going to have a shorter chin, and the eyes will be, you know, the eyebrows will lift slightly, be less shadow around. Maybe I can do a separate one for females. All it is just about joining lines, okay? Over and over until you get happy with it. Now, I've done this quite like this. What I want to do is give the impression that the ears are behind the head. So in order to do that, I just need to give a slight little line here. And I want to curve it out ever so slightly. Okay? So that you don't make them too chubby. Okay? Okay. There we go. Ooh, I forgot this is granite. There we go. Okay. Now, let us get the neck sorted. So we're using the lines that we've already got, and we are just darkening the bits that we want. Okay. What you've literally done is just given yourself some guidelines, and you're following your own guidelines. Woof. That's turning out to be quite a young man, unless I give him lots of facial hair. I think that might be a bit too. The reason I'm saying that, see how wide his neck is. Now you wouldn't normally think. Let me see if I can bring this up. You wouldn't normally think that necks are that wide, but they bloody well are, because obviously it reaches the base of the skull. Just going to fall over. There we are. So once we're happy with the outline of the neck, we can rub out or erase the bits that we no longer need. Okay. Okay. With that in mind, before I go to the next bit of erasing, I'm going to use the same dark pencil and really outline the top of the head. Of course, we still have to add some hair in. I can see here that we've got a bit of a curve going on here. So usually what happens, you have a jawline, okay, zygomaticus, or masseter, zygomaticus, I think is up over here. Then we go in for the temples, okay, ever so slightly, in for the temples, okay, and then we have the skull. Okay, now we want to highlight just the ears ever so slightly. So we're going to bring just like there, either side, okay? And then I want this nice long slant over here just to highlight. Okay? And on the same other side. Woof. Okay. Nice. This goes behind, and then with the lobe, just a little bit. Again, we don't want to continue the line from line, okay? I don't want his ear sticking out too much. I'm going to give him one of these flattened pixie ears rather, and then up, just for now, right? Okay, it looks like a face, right? There we go. So what I want to do next is I've got a general outline. The idea here is to basically rub out or erase all your pointers, all your little lines that you've still got going, all right? Because now we're looking at the outline and now we can do some shadowing. So let's clean up the edges. Okay, a little bit of there, the little lobey. Don't have to worry too much about this bit because we're going to add some hair. I find if you've got like an eraser that's really rounded and that you've been using a lot, get a pair of scissors and cut it so you've got nice sharp corners. You can really get in there. Okay, we don't have to worry too much about that, but we do want to get rid of these little lines. Okay. Now, get rid of that, all of that, all the pointers we had before. Don't worry if you accidentally rub over something. Just do it again. And the beauty is nothing is ever wrong, so you can do what you like. All I'm literally doing is just cleaning the edges. A nice little outline, then we can really work with it. Sort of smudging on my hand now. That's not too bad because we'll need some definition anyway. Right, I'm not going to rub out those bits yet because I don't know where I'm putting my shadows and light yet. So, and there we have an outline of a face. Okay, very basic, easy peasy. Now we can jazz it up a bit. Okay, let's give him some hair first of all, and then we can think about shadows, because we don't really want to do shadows before then. And then all of a sudden we give him a mop of hair, and then we don't know where to put those shadows. I think I might just quickly I just really want to work on his nose. I'm liking his nose. So all I'm literally doing is just bringing a bit of definition. Okay, I'll know what to do with that later. Right, let's give him some hair, some beautiful hair. I'm really not so great with hair, especially on men, so I'm just going to do some squiggles and see what happens, all right? So okay, the idea here is basically you'll always have your line at the top there. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't really see that line. So just go a bit nuts. It's fun. We add in highlights later and we'll make it a bit neater. But we just want to go for the impression of hair. Lots of little lines. Do you want to give a little bit extra here? Maybe just a wee bit over there. A little bit over there. Okay. Let's give him a wider face. A bit more of a mop of hair. Okay, gives you an idea, right? So again, with everything, we always go back to something. I'm not ready for that yet. And the idea as well is to get a bit more textures, just to kind of go even all over the place. Nice little scribbles, it's fun. Right, so there we have a man. Happy days. Just give him more the ear here. Okay, now pointers, men. Right, here, let's think a little bit about sideburns, because he looks quite young, but let's just give him a bit of, puberty, shall we? So we're just going to bring in just a little bit of shadowing. So again, I mean, you can really use any pencil, and you're not going to give him sideburns, right? You're not all the way to the side, but you are just going to give just a very slight impression. And the idea for this with, what's the best way to put this? Best with shading, you say you're working at the side of your pencil like this, okay? You start hard, and as you move slightly forward, you go slightly lighter, okay? Kind of the thing we're going to be doing, but very, very subtly for this bit over here. So literally just do. Okay, that feels like a shadow. So to give it more of an impression of hair, I'm just going to give a few little random. And same on the other side. I can't look at it like that. From dark to light. Ooh, squiggles, because again with the hair, there's going to be little fluffy bits of hair over here as well. So we just want to give a little bit of stuff over here, because we are from the ape family. Let's not forget our hair. Might give him Actually facial hair, but let's see. Right, so there we have an outline of a face. I'm going to get rid of this central bit of the nose now because I think I know what I'm going to do. Yeah, bit of an idea, proportion, okay. He's not very good looking, his eyes are very close together, so he's probably, let's say, a person with narrow eyes who can't be trusted. But we can change that with shading. So also his chin is quite short, quite, you know, short for a man. I suppose because I didn't really know what I was doing then, man or woman. But let's go. This is a he, she. Okay. Point now where we're just kind of going over stuff. We've got basically our basic lines down, so when we write over them lightly with a lighter pencil, meaning it's a harder lead, it's just filling in some gaps really. Okay, specifically with this young man, I want to really get some work with the shadows over here. So usually you'll have like a bit of a part of the eye socket bone coming through over there. So I want to give that an extra thing there where the eye socket meets the nasal kind of bone. I forget what that bone is called. Okay. And then I'm just filling in the gaps really. And then I'm going to give him slight little bit of a hint of shadow over here on either side. And sometimes it's easier just to be little circles going around. Okay. And now I want to meet some, where this is quite prominent over here, I want to just smooth it up with a lighter shadow. Bring that round. Okay. But then I also want to bring it inwards on the actual nose. So we'll see where the light hits. Best thing to do with figuring out where you want to put your lighting is check out what you want to do with the nose. So usually if it's a side light, you know, you're going to have shadow on this side and then light on this side, but it's not going to fall down flat and straight down the line of the face. It's going to be slightly curved to follow the contours of the face. Okay, so that's why I did the circles beforehand. So if this was poking out and light was coming this side, this would be underneath. We can make that light a bit more prominent in a minute, but just get this down first. We always need shadow under that nosy bit because it is always in shadow unless you've got your head up to the skies. And then this underneath here, again, needs to be in shadow, okay? And it never goes upwards to nostril. It always curves in underneath the nostril. So you really want to make sure that you're shading it around. And again with this, even though the light might be catching, the bridge over here might be casting a shadow on this part of the nose. So we just want to make sure that we're covering our backs. Okay, because that's so dark there, I want to really, so I don't like really straight lines on a face. If there's a straight line, I like to slightly blend it so it's not so harsh looking. It looks like the light is coming from this side, so we'll work with that. Okay, so the light's coming from this side, then it's going to be casting over here. that will be in shadow because it dips underneath. Okay, and then if we think about the curvature of the lip, it's going to be kind of round, right? And round there. This will be in shadow, and that will fit, kind of be more in the light. I'll keep it quite light over here, and then when it bridges inwards into the side of the face, it will obviously be darker in shadow. So it goes from dark to light. You can obviously change a little bit because no lips will go woof all the way around. You get, you know, slight little ridges in lips. So what I like to do is I like to add a bit darker every so often, just to give a real flavor of a lip. From the top and the bottom, you don't want straight lines, remember, so just fill in every so often over here. And again, fill in those gaps. And then because the lip underneath is curving underneath, again, you want to just blend that in ever so slightly. I find that if you look at your lips in the mirror, you'll always get vertical lines, the tissue of the lips. So it's also useful to work with that and going upwards and upwards, down and upwards when we meet. Okay. Same over here. This time, because he's in the light on this side, well, let's just fix it with this so we know what's happening. That's going to be the kind of the light one in the heavy brow. So heavy brow, I think it's like that. Okay, so we've got our light and dark here. Again, it's going to be quite dark under there as well. This will be slightly more in shadow because it's curved down. And then okay, so let's do the light bit of the lip. We're going to do pretty much the same thing, but just using the pencil a little bit lighter. Okay, so we're literally shading in from the lines. We don't really have lines as such. And this might be a little bit more in shadow as it curves outwards. Okay, so I would imagine this will be quite light. Bring those lines down the lips. We can go over that, but we're just doing that for now. Right, what I want to do, I want to give him Adam's apple because he's a man. So again, we think about the line. Adam's apple will be around over here. So if I were to continue the shadow, which would also run like this anyway, because it's underneath the chin. I'm going to do this and do. Really define it there. So we've got this like, S snaky shape here. Right. So I'm not going to talk through the rest. I'm just kind of going to go for it because the rest is basically shading. Basically, this bit is going to be in the darkness, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be shading the areas. HB, let's go for B. Right. So this section of the face is going to be really dark. Okay. That, I think the light's coming more from the side over here. So if we think about that, that's probably also going to be in shadow. The light's going to be hitting there mostly, casting shadow over here and a darker shadow over there. So let's do it for now. I don't want too much over there. hint. Again, we're blending. We'll get the contours of the face in a minute. We just want the shadows and light coming on here. Okay, and then that's probably going to catch a bit of the light over there. And again, I don't like the lines, so I'm going to just blend it so it becomes less of a line and more of a blend. Now the light will hit a little bit of the ridge over here because he's a man, and you see he's got a deep forehead set here. This will be his temples, so we can make the temples darker. Can blend in a minute. Temple will be here as well. Okay, let's get a bit of this going. Easy peasy. That's going to be slightly in the shadow because it's ridged over. Okay, then this will be coming out slightly over there. We've got this laughing smile over here. Okay. Again, this is going to be slightly in shadow. Don't worry, we're going to bring highlights to this in a minute, which is quite fun with the eraser. Okay. Right. I think we don't like to keep too much white because all that does is lose the texture. Okay, so let's get these shadows first a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. Right, and then we're just going to give it darker on that side. So don't worry about it being all the same. People have different techniques of shading. We're going to jazz it up in a bit. We're just filling in some gaps here. Okay. Again, we've got a very dark line over here and into there. So I really want to blend this. Okay. And I know that this bit is going to be this line over here. With the light was shining there. That would be darker, moving to slightly lighter. So I'm going to really work on that. Just slowly. And then you do the same thing, but you just slightly lift the, lighten the pressure just ever so slightly as you go, just to create that blend. Ever so slightly as you go. Doobie doobie. Right. Now, I want to give a slight kind of curve here, almost as a opposite to that of cheek, going upwards. I want to darken this area here underneath his eyes, not to make him look moody, just to make him look real, because we all have them. just might use a lighter pencil. Just do that a little bit slightly lighter. That's not too. Right, and then from here, I want to work on his little irises. I want that corner, you see, helps. I'm going to clean up the eyes. It really stands out. I'm using really just the point here. Okay, and I just want to give him some irises. So I just like to do it almost like spider webs, you know, just like a spider going in and out. You can do what you want really, because eyes are beautiful, amazing things to do. But we're not really focusing on eyes here. We're just focusing on how to draw a face in proportion. I'm going to bring the eyelid in. I think I can do a bit more jazzy stuff actually. Oh, we give him crazy eyes. Ooh. Okay. Now I want to almost cast a shadow from his lid, the top lid, onto his pupil, not pupil, eyeball. There. Let us give him this, just because again this is too much of a line over here, so I just want to blend it so it's never a line. It's always just a imperfect impression. Okay, and then over here as well, again, just give it a bit of craziness. Okay, we'll add in highlights in a minute. I want to give them some eyelashes. The easiest way really to give eyelashes is to do them in the shape that they would come out, right? So I like to, similar to the kind of the eyebrow that you just go a bit zigzaggy, you just do this. Just, it's a man, so we don't go nuts, but I mean, men have eyelashes, right? So ever so slightly, okay? You might curve just a little bit. If you want, you can even add a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Even add a little bit. Oh, he looks so sad now. He started off being all grumpy and pissed off, and now he's sad. He's got eyelashes. Bit of OTT maybe. Let's clean this up a bit. You see how like erasing some sections transforms your picture so quickly. The beauty is when you're doing something like this, you never know what you're going to end up with. So you just go with it. Go with the journey. Okay, right. Let's get a bit more jawline in there now. Okay. Go for another one on this side, I think. Can't say that way actually. Darker one. Oh, it's a bit full on. Now, if you want a bit more of a rougher idea, you bit more texture. Instead of where we did the shading like in one direction because it's just as quick. Now we can really get the texture by going in circles and going randomly, very lightly, over some of the areas, just to give it a bit of life. It'll fix his ears, don't worry. Okay, that's maybe a bit over the top. Okay. Right. So basically what we're doing is we are colouring a huge portion of the picture. The beauty of that is that when you do highlights with the eraser, it does shine up that much more. Okay, so let's just fix his ears a little bit, just with some shadows. That's going to be in shadow. That's going to be in shadow. Most of this is going to be in shadow, but the light will probably pick up a little bit over there. Make sure that we'll keep that bit light, and then we'll get darker here. And again, as you know, with these sorts of things, you can, a lot of sketches and stuff like that, they obviously just stop randomly at a point, and the viewer just accepts it, you know. Don't have to do it all perfect. Right. Okay. So let's give them a bit more, just to give you an idea. Okay. And get a bit more, because we did the line across over here, we need a bit more shadow over here now. Literally all it is a case of now is just kind of going over things, right? So you just don't want any particular line to stand up randomly on its own. It all just kind of needs to blend into one, you know, thing. Right, get a bit more darkness, a bit more edge over here. Okay, and I want to get a bit more. Ooh, I might be going a little bit overboard. Overexcited. I do tend to get overexcited with this sort of stuff. This is where the soft lead now is no longer happy. This is where you're going to get the hard lead, which is the lighter, which is the HB. And then we go for it. Ooh, yes. But I've done so much now, I have to commit to the rest. Got that line over there, so this will definitely be in shadow a bit more. Maybe a bit of a highlight later. The best way to work out shadows, obviously, you can use your own face, look in the mirror, find out where light goes, what shape it's making on your face. The other way is to go to get a book on or online anatomy. You can work out the bone structure, the skeletal structure, and then the muscular muscle system around that. That'll give you a really clear indicator. And then just observe, observe, observe. Let's make this a little bit more erratic, I think. A little bit too clean cut. Okay, I can go on for ages, but the one thing I do know about art, and this is true for any artist, you need to know where to stop. So before I do stop, I just want to add a couple of highlights with the eraser because it is quite fun. First I'm going to add the nose. Okay, bit over there. I think the nose over there would get a little bit as well of shadow. Maybe the edge there. Ooh, the mouth is weird, isn't it? Didn't think about that. Okay, let's just sort of get a little bit of teeth there. And then it's just something. Right there, coming in. Right there. Now you can go a little bit lighter. I'm just, you see, I do get a little bit excited. I want to make sure I can get the whites of his eyes actually white. So I need a point, which I no longer have. Now I do. I'm going to make sure the whites of his eyes are actually white. Otherwise he's just going to look like a druggie. Get a little highlight under the lid because your lid sort of pops over your eyeball, okay? So I need to get a little clear light there. Highlights over there. Same with the top. The light is coming this side, that's why I'm doing it this side. And then also the, yes. It is quite weird because the light's coming up from underneath, isn't it? Oh, Robin. You get the idea there. There we go. Highlight on his lippy. Okay. So, one more thing we'll do, we'll give some highlights on his hair. Now, as you can see, it's all a little bit of a scribble, but to give it a bit more of a feel, you can rub at certain points. It gives the impression it's maybe been combed in a month. I haven't sketched them in a very, very long time. So, I've actually forgot all of this stuff. Obviously, you want to do more by where the light catches as well. Right, so I could go on forever, but as I say, you've got to know when to stop. So this is a final piece of our man. Okay, he's a young man. The lips look a little bit weird actually. Again, what I said about leaving lines and making sure that things are blended in properly. But there will always be things you need to do. From the most point, the idea basically is to know proportionately where things can sit. Okay, so this is our man for the evening, and I hope you enjoyed that, and maybe I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, I'm just going to carry on with this. Okay.